He was a superstar of Depression-era politics, a fiery speaker known as the Kingfish. His name? Huey Long. He was a national figure, and there were serious talks of a run for the presidency in the year 1936. He was fatally wounded by a gunshot on September 8th of the year 1935. Many believe an opponent's son murdered him. Others say it was his bodyguard who accidentally shot him. I'm Jake Storielli. This is the story of Huey Long, and this is Laughs from the Past.
I liked it.
I don't think that was what either of us thought the voice or accent would be, but that's kind of how it goes.
It was a little intense.
It was passionate.
Yes.
I was trying to do kind of that Cajun thing with the old-timey voice. It didn't really work, but it came out as passion.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to sound like a passionate someone on the street corner of Louisiana telling you the story of Huey Long.
I don't know what Huey Long sound like, but if you go to his Wikipedia page and just look at the first picture that they have, it sounds like you were doing that. He's a man full of passion. The Kingfish.
Yes. Oh wow, his one of a top 5 Wikipedia picture I've seen for anyone.
It's pretty good.
It's Huey Long using the voice I just used.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow,
that was good. I don't know much about Huey Long, and whenever this happens, I'm always kind of like embarrassed because I was a history major. I'm supposed to be a guy that knows things, but our friend Jeff recommended the Huey Long murder as a mystery because I guess it is a mystery, and I'm like, all right. And now I'm like, oh shit, I should know who Huey Long is, but he has not landed on my radar. He was a politician. The Kingfish is a great nickname.
Kingfish is an awesome nickname.
From everything that I gather about him, from what I've read, and we'll go into it, is he was a Democrat who was equal opportunity, equal rights, like all the good things for humanity, and like more, and like he was a Democrat. He was your basic Democrat.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't want the rich to get too rich. He wanted the poor. He wanted to help the disenfranchised and all that. But the way in which he went around doing that, he was like a savage. That's just the general surface level that I've got from what I've seen.
Yeah, I like that, and and I'm still on the wiki page looking at that awesome picture of Huey Long. But you see, in 1934, his motto was "Every man a king," and that's kind of what he was pushing. You mentioned the Democratic stuff; it makes sense.
In today's day and age, people would say Huey Long was a socialist because that's the key word they throw around.
Yeah,
like his program was called the Share Our Wealth program. And whenever you want to take away money from the rich, bad things happen because the rich have the money to make bad things happen.
Right. Which already sounds like a theory brewing. But yeah, you and I are excited about this. We're both kind of, I don't want to say entry level knowledge, but we both believe in our friend Jeff, who's a history buff. And this story seems to check all the boxes. And dude, this is Laughs from the Past. Like they would never teach someone in a high school history class about Huey Long.
No, he's not big. Maybe in Louisiana, because that's where he's
from. That's a good call.
But I didn't learn about him at any level. You would have to be specializing in politics, Louisiana, or assassinations or something. But all right, I have a Mental Floss article here that's like 10 facts about Huey Long, just to give us a little synopsis of his character, who he was.
Sure.
He was a talented student who he was expelled before graduating. He was homeschooled before his father and other neighbors pulled money together for a teacher to create a subscription school. That's wild. So the whole neighborhood was like, man, all these kids don't got a teacher. Let's pool our money and we'll get old Miss Howe to come in. Kind of cool. Then he went to public school, later managed to convince his teachers to let him skip 7th grade. He was on the cusp of graduating. How does that work?
Yo, that's really good.
That's Politician 101.
I mean, that's impressive stuff.
I mean, what do? You just say, give me the test right now. Come on, give me a test. I'll do it. I'll pass.
I mean, yeah, that's awesome. Shows a little bit how things have developed. Like, how could a kid do that nowadays? How would that look?
You're going to love the story of why he got kicked out of school. I'm so glad I brought up this article.
All right, good.
He was on the cusp of graduating from Winfield High School in 1910 following the 11th grade when the school board decided to add a 12th grade to the curriculum.
Awesome.
So he's like home free in 2 months.
Yeah.
And they're like, actually, no, new thing just this year. We're adding a 12th grade. You have to do one more year. That is bullshit. I'd be so pissed.
That's awful. Could you imagine that?
I can't. I'd be livid. You have to grandfather in those 4 years. Like the next 4 years have to be grandfathered in. So the 8th graders, they know, okay, I'm going to high school for 4 years, not 3. And like they get the brunt of it. Anyone in high school who has their graduation set in 3 years, after the third year, you can't make them stay for another year.
And dude, how did like college stuff work back then? Like, when did people apply for college if it wasn't your like senior year of high school? Did you just show up?
Oh my God. I love Huey Long, Jake.
All right.
And I don't know. So he was kicked out of school for circulating a pamphlet decrying the extra year. And as a result, never finished high school. As revenge for his expulsion, he launched a petition calling for the principal to be fired and got enough signatures from the townspeople to see the principal removed.
You and Huey Long would have been trouble back in the day.
Yo, that is a politician in the making. Like that kid is dangerous.
There should be, okay, I don't know if this is the next reality TV show. Maybe it's the Huey Long show. But, like, how many of these kids are around the country? Because you hear stories like this, and, like, they should rack up, like, the 10 kids around the country that are doing shit like this and get them on, like, a politician fast track or something.
They wouldn't do it. The person who is this kid, I don't need that. I'm going to do my own thing.
That's true. I don't need your fast track. That's a great call. That's how they smell them out.
Yeah.
If you accept that,
you're out.
You're out. You can't do politics.
Yeah. This is like in Charlie Wilson's War. Have you ever seen that movie with Tom Hanks?
Man, I have, but not with like a good brain. I feel like I threw it on a plane once and I was like, this is a movie I should see, but I wasn't fully paying attention. I'd love to watch it again.
His character, Amy Adams, asked Charlie Wilson, who's Tom Hanks' character,
right?
What made you fall in love with politics? And he said that his story is that he had a dog that barked and he had a neighbor that was a terrible neighbor. So the neighbor put glass in his dog's food bowl or whatever, and his dog died.
Right.
And to get revenge on his neighbor, he drove a tractor and picked up all the immigrant workers, and he didn't tell them who to vote for. But he let them know that, hey, this guy killed my dog with glass.
Right.
And he shuttled him back and forth, and he got that guy ousted at his job, and that's when he fell in love with politics. That's Huey Long.
That's Huey Long.
That's the same shit. Okay. Fun fact number 2. He received a scholarship to Louisiana State University, but still couldn't afford to go. Though he didn't graduate high school, Long's talent for winning arguments got him noticed by colleges. How? How? What do you mean? That kid who just got the principal? Why would you invite this guy to your school when he just wreaked havoc on his high school?
Like, I think the world was just like such a different place. I'm trying to get into 1930s Louisiana right now.
This is like 1910s even.
Right, because as a kid, he's getting... Okay, so this is like before the Great Depression. Yeah, I mean, I guess there was nothing going on at the time. That maybe there was like debate teams and stuff?
Yes, he came in 3rd place at the Louisiana State debate.
Right.
Okay. Since room, board, and textbooks weren't included in the offer, Long had to pass on the opportunity. Instead, he worked as a traveling salesman, hawking medicines and books all over the state.
Sure.
Probably sold at every single house he went to.
Do you ever have any moments where you're like, you wish debate team was kind of cool?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. You could see it being, my cousin does debate, and like it's kind of cool. Like here's what I think. I think everybody should be forced to join debate team, or I think debate should be a class that is mandatory in high school or college level, because I mean, you see it on Twitter or whenever you interact with people, they have no idea how to form arguments in a way that's not offensive and isn't a straw man argument, and like, sticking to the facts and the points. That's a very weak skill by people in this country.
Every high school freshman should have to take a debate class. I love that, Jim.
I think it should be a necessity. I think geography and debate should be necessities in American high schools.
Okay. Is geography not?
No, man. Like actually knowing where the states in the country you live are.
Right. I feel like, what, do kids do that young and they just
Fourth
forget?
grade.
Yeah, okay.
It's too young. But it's embarrassing that we live in a country where I can ask someone in California, hey, where's Maryland on a map? And they'd be like, no fucking clue. And I can ask someone in Connecticut, hey, which one of these is Idaho? And they'd be like, I'm out.
No, you're the hoe.
Next fun fact. He passed the bar exam after only 1 year of law school. Of course, he's a debater.
Yeah.
After half-heartedly trying his hand at seminary school at Oklahoma Baptist University at his mother's insistence, Long, who claimed to have a photographic memory, later transferred to the University of Oklahoma College of Law, but was distracted by the local casinos and ended up staying for just one semester. In 1914, he attended Tulane University Law School for only a year before convincing the school board to let him take an oral bar exam. He passed and moved back to Winfield as a lawyer.
So, I mean, we're still fully in love with Huey. Is there any part of it that's like, is there any part of you that's like, yo, Huey, you've got to do life like a little bit?
Oh, no, I think I'm scared of him. I'm impressed and scared.
Okay.
And I like him as a innocent bystander from the future just looking back at his life.
I mean, we've got some like Catch Me If You Can vibes, right?
The dude could talk his way
right
into whatever he needed to get, it seems like. He talked his way into college when he didn't even graduate high school. He talked his way.
Why hasn't this been a movie?
I think it had. Ken Burns did a documentary. I'm sure there's something. I'm saying I think that we just missed this. I think a lot of people might be thinking like, how did you guys not know this?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I just right now everything feels like a more Louisiana version of Catch Me If You Can, which I mean,
I don't think he was a scam artist though. Like I don't think he was. I think he was just.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He's just good.
Yeah. He wasn't afraid to get his knuckles bloody. Long was irascible. Irascible? I don't know that word. Never.
How do you spell it?
IRASCIBLE.
Irascible. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Having or showing a tendency to be easily angered. Ooh.
Okay, so he would become irate. I never heard that word before. Okay.
Irritable, quick-tempered, yeah.
And more than once physically assaulted those who challenged him. That included a newspaper editor and one elderly outgoing governor who called Long a liar and was punched in the face by Long as a result. He was also accused of blackmailing and bullying his opponents, including a Baptist minister whom he tricked into entering a hotel room he'd staged with liquor and a prostitute. Beyond bloody knuckles, Long also got his hands dirty by rigging elections with fraudulent votes from Babe Ruth, Charlie Chaplin, and Clara Bow. Wow, that's cool. He was like, Babe's voting for me.
That's just smart.
Babe's voting for me. Why don't you vote for me?
Dude, like that. Yeah, this is like, I wonder if Huey Long is very popular in like, if you take a politics class or something. Because it sounds like he's right in the book.
Dude, Max, that helps us with Talking Yang stuff, is from Louisiana and poli-sci major, I think.
Huey Long must be like his idol.
Yeah, I'll send it in the group chat after we record.
Interested,
this.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, like that is now we're looking at scammy stuff, the blackmailing and the bullying and just faking having celebrity endorsements.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Or I mean, not even faking. Like, what if I don't know? Babe Ruth's probably signing balls and stuff. I mean, you get Babe Ruth to, even if you give him $20 and be like, Babe Ruth endorses me, or just lying about it. But it's genius.
Why don't we just start saying Ken Burns is a Laughs from the Past listener?
Yeah, might be.
We don't know. He could be.
He could be.
Next fun fact. He was a hero of the poor. I kind of already talked about this. He became governor of Louisiana with 96% of the vote. And he aided the poor with publicly funded projects, including new roads, bridges, hospitals, and schools, and free textbooks for students. Before he took office, Louisiana had a 25% literacy rate, only 300 miles of paved roads, and 3 major bridges. By the end of his term, adult literacy programs had taught 175,000 people to read, and there were 9,000 miles of roads and more than 100 bridges. It's a fuck ton of bridges. A lifelong enemy of the oil industry after Standard Oil caused him to lose money on an investment by refusing to buy any of his well's oil, Long pushed for a tax on petroleum products to help fund his social programs, also enacting a tax on the wealthy to benefit the poor. Did a lot. He invested in LSU's campus, ordered construction on a new Capitol building, and effectively gave Louisiana a head start with kinds of programs President Roosevelt would enact nationwide in response to the Great Depression. However, Long was also anti-union, opposed progressive child labor laws, saw the state debt balloon under his leadership. Yeah, they were building a bridge a day.
Yeah.
And failed to bring economic growth to the very people who supported him.
Building a bridge a day.
That's kind of the rub, though. Like, when you're putting all these things in place to teach the poor people how to read, to build 9,000 miles of roads and 97 bridges over a course of a couple years.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna be in debt.
Yeah.
So it's like the balance you have to play. And he was like, "Oh, I want to help the people, and we'll just figure out money later." I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, we think he's. So do we think he's? So interesting, because technically this is what, the first fail on his resume.
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't even think he would consider it a fail. He would say, "Yes, we have to accrue debt to make our state better."
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Huey Long doesn't lose.
Yeah. He ran the governor's office like a dictatorship. Historian David Kennedy wrote that Long lorded over the closest thing to a dictatorship that America has ever known. In winning the governor's mansion, Long overturned the power of the regular democratic organizational political machine and ousted hundreds of political opponents from jobs in the state bureaucracy, replacing them with loyalists who paid part of their salary into his campaign war chest. He strong-armed and cajoled legislators, diminished Standard Oil's power and governance, installed Oscar K. Allen as a puppet governor to follow his orders once he became a United States senator, and reportedly had armed thugs change voter rolls, all while overseeing a massive redistribution of wealth in the state. You know what's weird? It's weird to be like, he ousted all his rivals and brought in people who agreed with him. Because common sense would be like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
But America is built on presidents that don't do that. Like, it used to be the first place became president and second place became vice president. So you had both sides. And Lincoln was famous for bringing in his cabinet members were people that disagreed with him.
Right.
And like all the good presidents did that. They made a room full of people that would spark debate and different opinions.
Sounds like the best answers.
Sounds like Huey wasn't really going that way. He was like,
a little bit of a homer.
I'm the smartest.
Yeah.
And you'll just do what I say instead of countering me.
We're starting to see some minor flaws in Huey.
An attempt to impeach him turned into a riot. Shreveport Representative Cecil Morgan, who is aligned with the Choctaw Club, sought to impeach Long on a variety of charges, including corruption, incompetence, and blasphemy. Wow, what a charge. Speaker of the House, John B. Fournette, who was loyal to Long, moved to adjourn the special session abruptly and faked a vote count to say that the adjournment motion had passed. Enraged, Morgan and Long's allies attacked each other. They beat each other with inkwells and slugged with both fists. Shirts were torn off, eyes gouged, heads butted on desks in what would become known as Bloody Monday. Whoa.
Yikes. Still got the temper a little bit. So Huey Long lied about the votes?
I don't know. Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House, who was loyal to Long, moved to adjourn the special session abruptly and faked a vote count. Yeah. So he faked the vote count.
So yeah, not good.
Yeah. FDR considered him one of the most dangerous men in the country. Wow. Long was initially a big supporter of... That's like a damning thing for the president to say about you.
Yeah, it's not good. It's tough to come back from that.
Long was initially a big supporter of President Roosevelt, but he acted as one of his most vocal critics when, in Long's opinion, federal programs didn't go far enough to redistribute wealth. Roosevelt once said, "It's all very well for us to laugh over Huey, but he really is one of the two most dangerous men in the country."
One of the two?
Yeah.
He's got him top two?
Yeah, I don't know who the other one was. John Dillinger? I don't know.
What year is this? I kind of need to know this.
Well, FDR was president, and I would guess like 34, 35, 33 to 35.
Franklin, Roosevelt, two most dangerous men. Let's see if anything comes up. Douglas MacArthur, no. I don't know. I'm not doing good things per usual.
All right. Maybe Hitler was the other.
Adolf's a good one.
So let's go to the assassination and the mystery of his death now that we know a little bit about Huey.
Yes.
He was a national figure, and there was serious talk of a run for presidency in 1936, but that idea worried some people. To the rich and powerful, Long was the enemy, and he received numerous threats. Some believed Long was better off dead than being president. In fact, a few were convinced it was the only way to stop him. Historian and author Ed Reed wrote, "Huey Long had a great compassion for a lot of people, but that compassion did not extend to people who crossed him. Once you crossed Huey Long, you had an enemy for life. People lost jobs, they lost businesses, they lost lands, they lost everything because of the vindictiveness of Huey Long." Just don't cross him then.
Don't cross Huey Long.
Judge Henry Pavey of St. Landry Parish was one of the many elected officials that Long targeted for political destruction. And it was Pavey's 29-year-old son-in-law, a respected doctor named Carl Weiss, who is still remembered as the man who assassinated Long. 4 days before his death, Long returned to Louisiana from Washington, D.C. He had convened a special session of the state legislature, ignoring threats against his life. Senator Long walked boldly between the State House chamber and Governor Oscar Allen's office, where history says that Dr. Carl Weiss was waiting. Just after Long spoke to the governor, Dr. Weiss shot him in the hallway. Weiss was then shot more than 60 times by Long's bodyguards. Weiss's .32 caliber pistol was found beside him.
Can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
This is some big information here.
Yeah.
Jimmy, not to go overlooked here. So we're 1930s, 1935. 60 bullets. I mean, and I don't think we're talking like automatic guns here.
No, because it was inside a...
So let's do a little Boondock Saints math. I mean, how many bodyguards? We've got, what, 4 max?
That might come up later. I don't know. But yeah, I was thinking 2 to 4.
I'm in the 2 to 4 range as well. Let's say 4, because that's going to make it, I think, easier in our heads. But if each bodyguard has 1 gun, 2 guns?
Let's say 4 bodyguards with 2 guns each.
And 6 bullets each?
So we had 8 guns. They may have been able to have more than 6 bullets.
I'm not as educated on 1930s
if we have
guns.
If we have 8 guns on our hands, right?
Right.
And 60 bullets. 60 divided by 8 is 7.5 bullets per gun.
I don't know. Like I need some more. I need some old timey 1935. I mean, is there a chance? There's a chance there's more guards just because like he's a guy that was kind of running for president. Maybe
we might get to this in a little bit, but
okay.
If you're not picturing, if you're just hearing the words, they shot him with 60 bullets, really picture what that scene is. There's a movie called The Highwaymen about Bonnie and Clyde that's on Netflix right now.
Right.
And if you look up Google Bonnie and Clyde's car, you can see how many bullet holes like it got shot up with.
Yeah.
But they played it out in this movie, and you're like, oh yeah, that's what that many bullet holes actually looks like. And it's, 4 shots and then they're dead, and then it's about 10 minutes of just shooting a dead body.
Yeah.
Like and now we got 60 bullets. Like he was dead after the 10. So we spent
easy
50 more bullets into this dude's body.
Just pumped him with lead, man.
Why? Do you think like everyone in the building that had a gun just got to like walk by and shoot him?
I don't know. I guess maybe people were just very loyal to Huey.
But I don't even get it. Like, what are you doing at the end? All right, well, let's keep going into it. On the day Huey Long was shot, Carl Weiss and his wife ate Sunday dinner at his father's house. Carl's wife, Yvonne, was the daughter of Judge Benjamin Pavey, one of Huey Long's most outspoken critics. At the special legislative session Long had convened, he intended to eliminate Judge Pavey's position. According to those present at dinner, Dr. Weiss's father was ranting about Long and his attack on Judge Pavey. At the special legislative session, But despite his marriage to the judge's daughter, Dr. Weiss minimized Long's actions and tried to calm his father. So they're saying they had dinner before, and this Pavey was like, this Long guy's ruining my life. He's a fucker. I wish he was dead. And that's why they're saying the son-in-law shot him.
Yeah.
Yet just a few hours later, Dr. Weiss would lie dead in the state capitol, accused of assassinating Huey Long. He would leave behind his wife and son, Carl Weiss Jr. Isn't Carl Weiss a beer or something?
Carl Weiss? It's not coming up as a beer in my brain. Maybe. I'll see what the internet machine brings up if I ever find out who FDR's first most hated man was.
Maybe I'm thinking of like Carlson and there's a Weiss beer or something like that. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. Hefeweizen. No, Carl Weiss, the only thing that comes up is Murderpedia, which is Wikipedia for murderers, which we might have to get in there. Probably find some good stories that way.
At the state capitol that evening, the career of Yvonne Weiss's father, Judge Henry Pavey, was on the line. House Bill Number 1, a redistricting plan, was Huey Long's top priority. If it passed, Judge Pavey would be removed from the bench. At 9 p.m., the session was still going strong. Huey Long did not notice the arrival of Dr. Weiss. Historian and author Ed Reed believes Weiss went to the Capitol not to shoot Huey Long, but to plead his father-in-law's case. So it's kind of cool movie scene here. You have it all coming to a head at the court case where Huey Long's trying to get rid of this one guy's position, and his son-in-law is there trying to plead for his case, and then he finds out that he wasn't able to, or it failed, and his reaction is to shoot him. Crazy. Ed Reed says that 3 times Weiss approached Huey Long that night, and 3 times he was brushed aside. Weiss was a little more urgent. He told Long that he really had to talk with him, and Long once again said he didn't have the time to talk to Weiss. History records the rest in some blue haze, really. We're uncertain as to what happened, but that is how the scene was set for this particular moment. At 9:20...
So wait, do we think Weiss was hoping to kill him in these previous meetings?
They're presenting it as that Weiss was trying to talk to him, say, listen, my father really needs this. We got the, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so they don't think those were earlier, like, murder attempts or anything like that. Okay.
At 9:20 p.m., Dr. Weiss approached Long for the third and final time. The historians who are convinced that Weiss did not kill Huey Long believe that when Long verbally insulted Weiss, Weiss punched him. The altercation brought a hail of gunfire from Long's bodyguards, and Long was accidentally struck by one of their bullets. That's the opposing side to this is.
Okay.
That Weiss just punched him. The bodyguards started firing. Hey, we know that the bodyguards were jumpy. They put 60 bullets in a dude. And one of those 60 nicked Long. That's what the conspiracy theory says.
I think right now you got to love that theory because you're a little freaked out by the bodyguards right now.
I'm interested.
Okay.
There's got to be more evidence coming. Long was taken to a nearby hospital. Despite his wounds, the Kingfish remained very much in charge. Huey Long had been briefed as to who the man was who they claimed had shot him. He had been given a lot of information. Somebody had to come up with a story as to exactly what happened there, and Huey Long felt that he was the man to tell it. Huey Long was shot around 9:20, was operated on sometime around 11 o'clock. They went inside, found out that the colon had been punctured in 2 places. They sewed up Huey Long and pronounced him cured. However, the surgeons had overlooked a serious wound to the senator's kidney. A day and a half later, on September 10th, 1935, Huey Long died. At the official inquest, Dr. Carl Olson Weiss was named as Long's assassin. So this author that we've read about a couple times, Ed Reeds, questions that. He says, most assassins leave a paper trail. They leave some hint as to what they did and why they did it. There was nothing like this. Carl Weiss was not a man who was preparing to shoot anybody. And at that dinner at noontime on September the 8th, he was the model of propriety, and really, he was in complete control of himself. Carl Weiss was a father of a 3-month-old son. He was making provisions for the future. He spent a very normal Sunday, and there was nothing to incline anybody to believe that he would have this on his mind. I think it was altogether incomprehensible that he could have been the perpetrator of this crime. No one disputes that Carl Weiss owned a gun. That was my question. Like, did he have a gun on him? A 32
Louisiana 1930s.
Yeah, a 32 caliber pistol which he kept in the glove compartment of his car. However, Ed Reed believes that he has uncovered evidence that Huey Long was not shot by that gun. The official version of the operation makes no mention of a bullet being retrieved from Long's body, but Reed heard conflicting story from a relative of one of the surgeons. That's fishy. During the operation, there was a 38 caliber bullet removed from Huey Long. This is significant because Carl Weiss was alleged to have been carrying a 32, but the bodyguards were carrying 38s and 45s. So therefore, if a 38 was removed, and I believe that it was, then that could have not have come from Carl Weiss. That's great information from a terribly unreliable source. A relative of one of the surgeons.
Great information from an unreliable source. That's fun.
Like, if that was true,
right,
then of course he didn't shoot him. But your source is a relative of one of the surgeons.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of relative? A cousin that fucking hates the surgeon?
I mean, I hate to go into, like, Louisiana again, but I feel like you start getting, like, crazy 3rd and 4th cousins that come out of the woodwork, everybody knows everybody type stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I was actually cousins with the surgeon who operated on Mr. Long.
Yeah, well, not direct cousins, but...
My wife, cousin is cousins with him.
Yeah.
The grapevine gets pretty loose.
Wife's cousin married a guy that was the cousin of the surgeon.
Weiss's brother and cousin heard the rumors and went straight to the Capitol. There they found Weiss's car, but when they came back with the keys, it had been moved at this point. They still had no idea Dr. Weiss had been killed. Weiss's brother and cousin discovered that the doctor's gun was missing from the glove compartment. To this day, no one can be sure who removed the gun from the car. Aloysius Sahuk, a security guard at the state capitol that night, told Ed Reed that it was not Carl Weiss. One of the bodyguards, who is now dead, told me that he felt that the gun was a throwdown gun, that one of the bodyguards had gone out to the car that Carl Weiss had driven up in, I can't read the way this author writes these things. It's really weird. It's just not driving with my brain. But one of the bodyguards had gone out to the car that Carl Weiss had driven up in, had gotten that pistol, and had thrown it next to the body. He believes that this theory is supported by Weiss's own actions. If Carl Weiss was actually at the state capitol to kill Huey Long, he had a perfect opportunity that passed. Huey Long had his back turned to Carl Weiss. It would have been very easy for Carl Weiss to shove his pistol up against Long's body, emptied out the magazine, and then make his escape. Because of the rumors that have been flying that there would have been an attempt made on Huey Long's life that night, because of that, fuses were very, very short. Something that happened that night, perhaps Carl Weiss hit Huey Long. Perhaps he just moved too fast, and I think the bodyguards who were without any training whatsoever in security, I can't read the way they fucking write this. I think they overreacted. I think, because it's someone talking, and it's a direct transcript of someone talking, so I don't have the same cadence. And I think the bodyguards who were without any training whatsoever in security, I think they overreacted. I think bullets that entered Huey Long's body were the bullets that came from the bodyguard's gun. But it's simple. Did Weiss shoot him and they responded with 60 bullets? Or did Weiss do something else and they were on edge already because so many death threats? And
Right.
This was, if they knew who he was, the motive is easy to be like, this guy might fucking do something right here. Be quick. Act quick. Then someone got trigger happy.
I mean, what I'm kind of shocked about, and I don't know how much of the article you have left, but the president of the United States called this guy a top 2 dangerous man in the country. We don't think we've got some conspiracy stuff going on here?
That's kind of interesting.
The president is on record calling this man the second most dangerous man in the United States. And we don't think there's an inkling of a chance this was like an inside job?
Yeah, maybe. But here's another little piece.
Okay.
When Long went to the hospital, he was bleeding from his lip, and he said, "That's where he hit me." So, if he's talking about Weiss, then Weiss might have just punched him in the face.
So we think maybe Weiss punched him. Maybe Weiss makes a run at him, punches him. One of the bodyguards goes for the gun and shoots them both.
Yeah, well, I think they're saying that Long got hit by a ricochet shot or a stray bullet or something like that.
Do you think Carl Weiss shot a bullet at our guy?
I kind of like this conspiracy that he didn't. When's the last time someone who had a gun,
Right.
the bleeding lip is really pulling at my brain here, Jake. You walk up to someone, you're going to shoot them, right?
Right.
Why would you punch them first? Why would you get within arm's reach knowing your intent is to shoot them, a weapon that you can use from farther away?
Right. Part of the reason you have the gun is to not use your fists.
Like, if you're going to kill someone, you're not going to punch them first.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I actually, in my brain, that's good evidence that he might not have shot him.
I mean, yeah, I know we've got this one article here, and I mean, there's a reason Jeff brought it up and we're talking about it, but I mean, we're talking about this quote-unquote motive for Carl Weiss, and I mean, it's not really a motive to kill anyone.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like there'd probably be a lot of people out there that disliked Huey Long more than Carl Weiss. Yeah, I mean, man, I just feel like it's being severely overlooked, the odds of this being going all the way to the top.
Yeah. This has an update. It says,
Okay.
Colonel Francis Grievenberg, head of Louisiana State Police during the early 50s, was among those who believed that Long's bodyguards had killed him accidentally, and Grievenberg was in position to know. He claimed that 2 state troopers who were eyewitnesses to the shooting told him that Dr. Carl Weiss was unarmed when Long was shot. The state troopers confirmed that after the bodyguard shot Long, they planted a gun on Weiss. Despite this information, the official position of the Louisiana State Police is that Dr. Carl Weiss was killed by Huey Long. There is one final piece of evidence that suggests Huey Long's death might have been accidental. Records uncovered decades later reveal that a $40,000 life insurance payment was awarded to Long's family. At the time, insurance company investigators concluded that Huey Long's death was accidental.
Wow.
All right.
So now there's a chance Huey Long's family's in on this?
No, they're saying that the insurance company did their own investigation.
Right.
And they came to the conclusion that it was accidental and not murder.
Oh. Gotcha.
Yes.
That's the insurance company essentially saying this was an accident, not a murder.
Yes.
Got it.
Here's if I'm putting on my personal detective work, you already know my theory that if you're going to kill someone, you're not going to punch them first.
Right.
If Carl Weiss didn't shoot Huey Long, if he punches him, the bodyguards react quick because they're trigger happy and they shoot him, and he's laying there and they shot him one time each, right? So now Carl Weiss got 4 bullets in him, but one of them hit Huey Long. And now the bodyguards look around and Huey Long's got clutching himself. He's like, "You hit me, you dumb motherfuckers." And they're like, "What?" They all look around. What do we do?
Sorry, boss.
They go, "Fuck." Someone go to his car, see if he's got a gun in his glove compartment. Very common for the 1930s.
Sure.
And then we have to silence this man to make sure he can never talk.
Right.
Unload every bullet they have in their gun.
60 of them.
Because why else do you shoot him 60 times? The dude's dead. He's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
I'm full conspiracy. Carl Weiss didn't kill Huey Long.
I mean, Jim, normally I pull back from the conspiracy, which takes away from some of the drama. I'm going all the way to the top here. I don't know if it's Huey Lewis in the news or if it's his bodyguards or both of them. I think this goes up to FDR, man.
You think maybe FDR paid one of the bodyguards to accidentally shoot him? Hey, when you find your spot, I'm going to need you to take him out.
I think there's a chance of that. Like, I don't know if, Carl Weiss, again, I don't know enough about him. If he was just a pawn in the game that got screwed in this whole ordeal. I'm doubling down. I would go FDR's involved somehow with either a bodyguard or something. President of the United States called him the second most dangerous man in America. I can't get over that.
It is kind of weird. FDR wasn't like a blabbermouth, like hothead. He was a pretty respectable guy.
Yeah.
So for him to call another political figure.
And it's not like he said.
So we both agree Carl Weiss didn't shoot Huey Long. And we're agreeing with the insurance company, apparently.
Carl Weiss is a pawn in the game.
Yeah. Got 60 bullets. Jesus.
Yeah, that sucks, man. He was a physician.
You know what? I went into this episode, Jake, saying like, man, I wish I did more research. I wish I knew more about this story just naturally. I'm coming away saying Huey Lewis's life and murder, incredibly interesting. I really liked this episode.
Yeah, Huey Lewis is cool. Like, if there was a Huey Long movie coming out, I'd be like,
Huey Long, yeah.
I want to look into this. Jimmy, I ended up on Carl Weiss and Huey Long. It's easy to like combine those names. Like there might be another connection, like Huey, or Carl Weiss's wife, her dad was like
the guy. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, the judge. I don't know where.
Wait, did you miss that part?
I heard it, but I didn't process it.
Yes, he's the son-in-law of Pavey,
right?
The guy who Huey Long was getting rid of, and the assassination happened right after the hearing that got rid of Pavey.
Yeah. I mean, that's Carl Weiss did not kill or attempt to kill Huey Long.
Yeah. So there was a movie called All the King's Men in 1949, and a 2006 film. There's an opera about him. Yeah, they need to make a recent Huey Long movie. They
I'm
definitely
down.
do.
I'm in.
Ken Burns made a documentary in 1985. I love Ken Burns' documentary, so I'm probably going to watch that.
Ken Burns.
2006, All the King's Men, Sean Penn, Jude Law, Kate Winslet, James Gandolfini, Mark Ruffalo, Anthony Hopkins.
Really, Mark Ruffalo? That's the face you're going with?
This movie's going to suck.
I mean,
All
dude,
right.
that's a big cast. Might have
Huge-
to throw that on.
Huge cast.
Wow.
Yeah, I might have to test that out. It looks kind of cool, actually. I'm looking at like pictures of the film.
Yeah.
Like, if you
Are you a Sean Penn guy?
Some movies. I don't shy away from him, and I don't really necessarily like. I need to see everything Sean Penn does. That's not true. I think I kind of am. I think I am a huge Sean Penn guy.
Dude, I know you just said it, but I'm going to read it back to the people. Sean Penn, Jude Law, Anthony Hopkins, Kate Winslet, Mark Ruffalo, James Gandolfini. That's 6 A-listers.
Yeah.
So I guess we missed it. We'll watch this and see if it's good.
When I was 17, I wasn't so interested in the Huey Long movie, I guess.
Yeah, not as interested in Huey Long.
Yeah. All right, that ends this episode of Laughs from the Past. Thank you guys for joining. We actually, Jake, I didn't even tell you this. We had a really, really, really good download day last episode.
Nice.
So thanks. Share it with your friends. Go back and listen to old episodes. Let us know if you have anything coming up, because we're gonna end the mystery season in a couple weeks, and we'll give you updates about that. But suggestions are always welcome. Thank you guys, and we will talk to you later.